read for this episode of my sneak peek into my last week. Without any further delay, let's jump onto it. So this week I read uh, both thriller and horror category books as well as some spiritual lifestyle inclined books as well. So first I'll start with the thrillers and horrors which I had picked for this previous week, and I will go from the least favorite book to the most favorite book in this category, and then I move on to my other category of books which I picked. So previous week I ended up picking around 6 books, among which unfortunately one of them I couldn't complete. So let me start with the same. So in thriller and horror category I picked 4 books, and the first book which I picked was Bunny. By Mona Awad. So this book falls under, I think, horror category, and I picked this book because I saw that many reviewers told that this book is quite interesting, it's very different, and lot of such positive comments and reviews which I saw. So I kind of got interested in this, like selecting this book, and so that's how I ended up selecting this book. But I honestly couldn't digest this book, so I left it in between. I couldn't complete this. But to tell about the story, this goes like there are this bunch of girls who call themselves as bunnies, and they are kind of a cult. Okay, so you don't know what are these people like. Are they a horror cult, or like gothic activities, or they drug addicts? You don't know. So when this girl Samantha from the same department, she doesn't she doesn't really like this bunny gang, but she gets an invite from this bunny gang to join their one of the gathering which they do as a ritual or something of that sort. So she gets an invite and she goes to that, though initially she doesn't really enjoy what is happening over there. Weird kind of um, party, what they call, with some bunny shots, and then some seductive ways of playing some games, etc. So though initially she doesn't really like it, but slowly as the party progresses she kind of starts enjoying it. And after this party is over, she doesn't even remember what exactly went on in this party, what she did or what she talked. And then she kind of starts getting these invites from this bunny gang on a regular basis, and she starts going to these gatherings. And in this gathering, this bunny gang does some very weird things. I don't know whether it is like a horror setup, all these activities are kind of a gothic things, or is it some imagination stuff which is going on, or is it like some drugs they are taking and they are creating a world of their own fantasies, etc. So this book was really very weird, and the storyline was totally different. But the thing which I couldn't digest is because it was too draggy for me, like explanations were going here and there, and I couldn't really concentrate on it, so I left it around in chapter 15 or so. But having said that, see, this is my personal opinion, so I mean, if this kind of a weird story, or it is like suspense kind of, if that interests you, definitely go for this book. Probably you would end up liking this book, unless like me. But for me it was not a interesting one. Maybe I didn't connect to this book, so I ended up giving it a 1 rating. um, okay, yeah, that's about it. The second book which I picked was One by One by Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware is one of my favorite authors. My 5-star and 4.5-star books come from this author. So I have, like, till now I think I have picked all the books which this author has written. So with that great expectation, I jumped on to One by One. But yeah, it didn't meet my expectation. To tell about the story, this is if you have read Agatha Christie's Then There Were None, so you might get some vibes of that when you're reading this book. Um, so this story starts with this co-workers. They go on a holiday, or like company holiday, or like I think team building kind of a thing, to this resort which is like a remote in a snow mountain. And when they go there, they invite this worker who used to be ex-worker of that music company. It's a music company called as Snoop, and they invite this ex-worker as well for this holiday, because she is one of the shareholder in that company. So when they arrive at this resort, things start getting creepy when one of the members, she is one of the board of the directors, and she goes missing in a avalanche which happens in this mountain. And after this avalanche, it was so severe that the resort is cut from the outside world. And when they realize that there is one employee who has gone missing, the panic situation starts. And after that, there will be more murders which are happening, like people are doubting on each other, and they don't know who is the one who is killing, and they're very sure that among these people only somebody is a killer. And they start doubting it each other, and they start becoming that detective and trying to find out who has done it. So slowly, one by one, person starts getting murdered, and people start getting panicked. So the story goes like that, and ultimately they'll find whoever is. But there was the sad thing about this is that there was no suspense as such. From the page one, I kind of guessed who is the killer. And as the story progressed, though the author tried her best to, I mean, though the author tried to kind of mask that doubt which you might have got while you started the book, but it didn't work properly, because I kind of knew who was the killer. And as the chapters reached the end, I was like, it was like very evident who is the killer. And I also like kind of uh, felt bad, because the whole environment where the story was built, like this snow mountain which is removed, which has this very scary feel to it when an like avalanche has happened and the connection is cut down. So the story could have been like really intense, but that intensity was missing, unless like this author's other books. So yeah, that was a setback for me. But still, for a one time read, I really enjoyed this book. So I ended up giving it a 3 star. Yep. So the third book which I picked is from Jennifer McMahon. After reading The Winter People, I really wanted to, go to the other books of this author and try how they are. So I picked The Night Sister by Jennifer McMahon. And this is a horror book. And this book is kind of a monster story, I can say. So it was reminding me of all these monster stories which I used to read when I was a kid. So this story has 3 timelines, and one is being in I think 1905, or yeah, one, the grandmother's generation, and then there are kids of like in mid 1980 or something of that sort, and then there is a present day generation. So story starts with a brutal murder which happens in this house of the character Amy. And it is found out that she has killed her son and her husband very brutally. So the death scene reminds as if it is not really she who has done it. It is like a, a demonic character which has come and clawed them to death. So that is where the story starts, and her only daughter Lou, she is left. She is not dead, and she has survived. Now, this Amy has two friends. Yeah, Piper and Margot, and they have another friend Jason as well, who is Margot's husband in present day. So Jason is a cop. So Piper and Amy are really very good friends, best friends, but for some reason their friendship had been broken couple of years back. So the couple of years back, that is another timeline where the story revolves around. So in that timeline, Amy and Piper, they were in their teens, and they are trying to find a mysterious uh, disappearance of Amy's aunt Sylvie. So the Sylvie and her sister Rose, that generation is the 1905 generation. So it is believed that, or I think Sylvia and Rose's grandmother told them that there is this monster character called as Mare, which has a capacity to change itself into any of the animal or any living thing, and it's a monster. And when the person gets changed into mares, they can end up do anything. They can kill somebody, they can eat someone, and they don't know this thing when they convert into mares. So mares are monsters. So Sylvia and Rose were grown up, when they were growing up, their grandmother has told them this story, and Rose for some reason believes very strongly that her sister Sylvie is not a human, she's a mare. And in that timeline, after certain, when Rose and Sylvie are in their teenage age, so Sylvie goes missing. So Rose always has believed that she was a mare, and Rose is the one who captured Sylvie when she got converted into a moth, and she has killed Sylvie. So this is the belief what Rose has in her mind. Amy is Rose's daughter. So now, when Amy is growing up, she always wanted to find out what has happened to her aunt Sylvie. So she will go into this investigation mode with along with her best friend Piper and Margot, and she tries to uncover what has gone wrong. So this whole story revolves around this tower motel, which in Sylvie's time was a working motel, but in Amy's time and in the present day, it's like a it's not in operating mode, and it is like a haunted place. So the story revolves around that. And in Amy's teenage, when she was in her teenager age, so she uncovers something because of which hers and Piper's friendship was broken there, and they were not in contact with each other. Now after so many years, when Amy's this murder thing comes into picture, Piper starts getting this, the chills, that what really happened here, like why did Amy kill, what went wrong, or is it having any connection with what happened when they were kids and they uncovered something, or is it somehow related to Sylvie, Amy's aunt, who is believed to be a mare. So this is the whole plot of this book, and it's really nicely written, and like how the things are connected, what really is happening, and who is the monster, right? So yeah, it was very nice, it was very nicely written, though in the end, when it was only one chapter remaining or something, I could get the whole picture of what is happening and who is the killer and all. But yeah, overall it was really nice. It you can really, I mean, get some, like, there are some scary moments, there are some it's really a page turner. There was no place where I felt like, oh, I don't like this book or something. So it was like really very fast paced, so I enjoyed this book. So I gave it a 4.5 rating for that reason, and I really enjoyed. So you can give it a try if you are looking for a mild horror and these scary moments and things like that. Okay, so the last book in this category, what I had picked was again from Jennifer McMahon, and the book is The Invited. So this is again a horror book, and I really like this book. So this also has couple of timelines, generations, and here and there. I think Jennifer really likes to mix up these timelines and have this kind of setup. So yeah, I felt that vibe. So this also has couple of timelines, and the story starts with there is this witch called as Hattie in one of the timeline, like the old timeline. So the whole village called her a witch because she has this power of sensing the future. So she used to tell the villagers that there is something which is bad going to happen, please don't you know take care of yourself or something. So the villagers used to believe that it is not really that she is warning them, she is kind of a witch who is inducing these things on them. So their belief of she being a witch grows really really strong, and they kind of tend to see her as a very dangerous person. So when she warns these villagers that there is going to be a fire in the school, and she warns that they should keep their kids away, but they don't do that, and there will be 3 kids who will be burnt to death in this particular fire. But Hattie's daughter Jane is survived. So from there the story starts building that okay, these villagers go and hang this Hattie to her death, but she tells that I will be coming back. So now that is where the story starts, and then there is this present day where this person Helen, who has purchased the land where Hedy used to stay years back, and Helen is trying to build a house in this land, and because of lack of money or something, so they are not giving any contract to other people. They as in like Helen and her husband, they are building the house from scratch on their own. So when they are building house, strange things starts happening, and there are some disappearances, etc., etc. But later it is found to be that these things are done by these things are done by this girl called as Olive, who lives nearby. And Olive and her mother, they were in a quest for this treasure which was belonging to Hattie, and Hattie has hid it somewhere. So nobody knows where she has hid it, and now this Olive and her mother Laura, they want to find out where is this treasure, and they want to find it and live happily after that. So they don't like basically Olive doesn't like Helen and her husband coming here in this property and trying to build a house, so she wanted them to go away. So she starts playing some tricks, but eventually things get sorted and they become a gang on talking about Hattie, what has happened, what are these mysterious things which are happening here. Like Helen's husband spots some deer in the woods, and it's like very mysterious animal which is roaming around, and then some strange things started appearing in the house when Helen sees, and Helen starts getting more and more obsessed with you know um, all these gothic things which are happening, and she gets more and more obsessed with Harry. So she starts, getting all the stuffs which were belonging to Harry's family, and she brings back these things to the house in a belief that if you have some things which were belonging to the dead will come back and they talk. So it's all revolving around this, on what happens, who is doing these things, really there is a ghost, or what is this treasure which they are talking about, will they find the treasure? So this story will revolve around all these aspects, and it's really written very nicely. And there are a lot of moments where it is very scary, and it will keep you on the edge of the chair until you finish this book, and you really want to finish it in one shot, kind of. So it is very fast paced again, and story is also very nice. So very nice horror moments are there. So it's a good written, well written story. So I ended up giving it a 5 rating itself, because it's really it was creepy, it was scary, it was well written, fast paced. So I really enjoyed this book, so I ended up giving it a 5 rating itself. So that's all in the horror and thriller category which I had for this week. So I usually try to mix the kind of books I pick. I don't stick to only thrillers and horrors for a week, because it becomes too much of just the thriller and things like that. And also whenever I want to calm my mind and I want to think, kind of very calmer way and settle way, so I go for all this lifestyle and spiritually inclined books, and trying to, which helps me to try to calm and try to think positively, and keep my thinking clean, mood very light, and very productive. So yeah, that's about it. And so in that category, this week I picked two books. One is Ikigai by Hector Garcia and Francis yeah. So this book talks about how Japanese people have practiced the skill of Ikigai. Ikigai is a magical word which implies how do you keep yourself active and all the time, how do you keep yourself busy and be happy with that and be productive, and also how can you extend your lifetime, like how can you live longer. So Japanese people are told to be, and like the research say that they are the one who have seen lot of centurions. So how do they practice this, like what is their technique to handle the stress or handle everything which goes around, and how people lose their temper, their positivity, their calm mind, they lose everything. So how is that Japanese has practiced this so well? So this book talks about all those techniques, or the lifestyle what they have followed, or the eating habits what they have followed, and like when they get up, when they sleep, what do they do, how is their lifestyle, how they live, whether they are like they're happy with small things, and how is their diet, what do they eat, and they are someone like their lifestyle is so busy, and they somehow make time for everything or everyone. So this book really made me think, like, okay, see, if somebody has proof for these concepts and they have seen very good result of it, why not you or me trying those things? What is wrong in giving it a try and seeing whether it will benefit me or also or not? So that was the kind of mindset which I got it from this book, and I really tried to implement at least few of the very good things which this book talked about. Overall, this book really gave me a very nice ideas, and like what can be improved, what can be implemented from this to make life better. So I enjoyed this book, and I have taken a lot of positive points from this book on like how I can make my life better. So I think it's a good read. So you can definitely go for this book, and I gave it a 5 rating. It's really nice. So the last book what I picked, again in lifestyle, spiritual, religion category, lifestyle category. This is the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and this is really a brilliant book. It talks about how can you be emotionally free, right? So we usually make ourselves get into stress, like we unnecessarily think, unnecessarily take things very seriously, or unnecessarily we hurt someone, or like it's all kind of self-induced, because for any of these things, it is not coming from some other person, it is within you. So how do you manage your emotion plays a very important role in how can you live happily and live freely. So this book really talks about those things, and the author gives four agreements which if you try to follow, you can definitely be able to live freely and happily. So these agreements, what this author says, they are be impeccable with your words, like never hurt anyone, or like think before you talk, as in like you need not be so you need not take some decision or say something in a rush, right? So that's the first agreement what he talks about, and he gives a lot of more and that's the first agreement he talks about, and the author gives a lot of how ways how you can actually improvise the way you are living and way you are handling things, and what you can implement to make it better. So the second agreement what he talks about is don't take anything seriously. See, our problem arises most of the times when unnecessarily we end up taking everything to heart, and we start building something else out of it, like we assume something else and then we behave something else, we talk something bad and we hurt others or we hurt ourselves, we create a lot of mess. So that's what this agreement talks about, that don't take things seriously. See, just just be the way it is, like you need not overreact or think too much about things, right? Live every day happily, like you need not rush and think about future or think about past, right? So again, this agreement also he gives a lot of scenarios, lot of examples on like how you can be kind of different from your current thinking, right? So the third agreement what he talks about is don't assume anything, right? When we assume something is when we start thinking negative. We build another story in our mind just by planting one assumption about something, right? This happens so often that we don't even realize what we are doing. So the examples which the author gave, really I was connected with that. Yes, this is what sometimes I end up doing, and that is how I mess up with my own mood, right? It's not really coming from other people at all, it is like my own you know deed that I did it to myself, right? So yeah, so author talks about a lot of ways you can handle this mindset of yours and change this. This is for your better, definitely. The last agreement what he talks about is be your best at any point of time. There is nothing like you will do little less than the best, or okay this is enough I think. So never. If you try your best at any point of time, that is when you can actually follow all the other agreements, right? So they are all interconnected, and this all these things, to follow this is not for somebody else's benefit, it is your own benefit, your own emotional uplifting and your own improvement. So this book was really very nice. I'm definitely going to pick the other books by this author, and this really kind of helped me in this week to kind of handle some of the stress which was going on, maybe because of the pandemic or some other situation. But these books really helped me to calm myself down and think little, you know, freely and appropriately, not to take any decision in, rush and, end up in some more mess, right? So yeah, I think this is a very good book, and definitely it was a 5-star book for me. I have linked the audible links for all the books which I had picked the previous week in my description below. Definitely, if you are interested, go and look into these books. So that is all I had for this week. I had picked all these beautiful books the previous week, and yes, that is all which I had for this episode of mine. I will come back with another episode next week. Until then, this is Sahana signing off. And yes, of course, if you like my content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until we meet next time, bye bye.